This video is about the alpha protected her but his mate bond was with another. If this story captivates you, please like the video, share it with loved ones, and write in the comments how it touched your heart. Asterisk asterisk, the alpha protected her but his mate bond was with another asterisk asterisk. The night was an endless tapestry of shadows, the moon hanging low and heavy, casting silver light over the quiet expanse of the sylvan woods. In this enchanted realm, the air thrummed with magic, a potent elixir that flowed through the hearts of the wolves who called it home. It was here, under the watchful gaze of the luminescent moon, that the destinies of two souls would intertwine. Laura, an omega of the crescent moon pack, stood at the edge of a glade, her heart racing. The scent of pine and earth filled her lungs, but it was the intoxicating aroma of him, her alpha, Kellen, that ensnared her senses. Despite the danger it posed, she was drawn to him, like a moth to a flame. "Stay away from him, Alara." The stern voice of Lyra, a fellow omega, broke the stillness. "You know the rules. You can't be with an alpha. It is forbidden." "I know," Alara whispered, her gaze fixed on the figure of Kellen, who stood with his back turned, the muscles of his shoulders rippling under his dark shirt. "But I can't help it." "Help what?" Lyra huffed, crossing her arms. "Wanting what you can't have, he is bound to another. His mate bond is with Nissa. You be asking for trouble." Alara turned, her heart heavy. "I can feel it, Lyra. There is something between us, something powerful. I can't ignore that." Lyra shook her head, disappointment etched on her face. "You are only setting yourself up for heartbreak. You of all wolves should know that. Alphas are not meant for omegas. That's the way of the pack." As Lyra walked away, Alara clenched her fists, the weight of her desires pressing down on her like a stone. She had long accepted her place in the pack hierarchy, yet the magnetic pull towards Kellen was insatiable, a wild flame that defied all reason. Kellen turned then, his piercing blue eyes meeting hers. A jolt of electricity shot through her, igniting a longing deep within. He stepped toward her, each stride imbued with an alpha's undeniable power. "Alara," he called softly, his voice a low rumble that sent shivers down her spine. "Alpha," she breathed, her heart pounding wildly in her chest. She could see the struggle etched in his features, the conflict of duty and desire. It was a familiar dance, one she had witnessed from afar, but now she was tangled in its embrace. "Why do you stand here alone?" he asked, his brow furrowing slightly. "You should be with the others." I was," she stammered, glancing back at where Lyra had vanished. "But I wanted to see you." A fleeting look of surprise crossed his face, and for a moment the world around them faded. "You shouldn't. It is not safe for you to be so close to me." "But I want to be close to you," Alara confessed, the words spilling out before she could tame them. "I can't stop thinking about you, Kellen." His expression hardened, and a flicker of pain crossed his features. "You know I am bound to Nissa. I can't betray her." Alara's heart sank, the truth crashing down upon her like a thunderous wave. "I know. I just thought—" Her voice trailed off, the hope she had clung to now slipping through her fingers. "That you might be different," he countered gently, but his words were laced with sorrow. "You deserve better than this. You deserve to be loved without the weight of my responsibilities." "Do you believe I don't feel this?" she asked, desperation lining her tone. "Do you not feel it, too, the bond that draws us together?" Kellen's jaw tightened, and he looked away, his frustration palpable. I want to jeopardize my pack for my desires." "Is that the only reason?" Alara challenged, stepping closer. "Because you were afraid of what others might think." "No," he replied, his voice strained. "It's because I love Nissa. I can't betray her." Tears pricked Alara's eyes, but she fought then back. "You are lying to yourself, Kellen. You don't love her the way you feel for me." His eyes flashed with hurt and anger. Don't say things you don't understand. Nissa is my mate. We were destined from birth." "Is that all it takes?" she shot back, the fire of her defiance igniting. "A predetermined bond? What if true love exists beyond that? What if our souls are meant to be together?" Kellen looked at her, the conflict raging within him. "Alara, please." His voice softened, the edges of his resolve fraying. "It is not that simple." "Then make it simple," she cried, her voice cracking. "Don't you want to find out what this is, what we could be?" As she spoke, the wind picked up, swirling around them like an unseen force, wrapping them in a cocoon of magic. The world melted away, and in that moment, it was just the two of them, two souls caught in a tempest of longing and fear. Kellen took a step closer, his breath mingling with hers. "You have no idea what you are asking. It's dangerous. I am the alpha. I have responsibilities." "Then let me be a part of it," she pleaded, her heart racing as he closed the distance between them. "Let me see you for who you really are, not just the alpha they expect you to be." Do you think I don't want that? He whispered, his forehead almost touching hers. Every time I see you, I want to pull you into my arms and never let go. The air crackled between them, an unspoken promise hanging in the night. Alara could feel his warmth, the magnetism of their connection pulling her closer. But then the shadows loomed larger. With a sudden movement, Kellen stepped back, his expression haunted. I want to allow myself to be tempted. This is my mate. His words struck her like a blade, each syllable a reminder of the reality that bound them both. Then why do you look at me like that? She asked, her voice trembling. Why do you make it so hard to breathe? Because I can't control how I feel, he admitted, his voice raw. And that scares me more than anything. Alara swallowed hard, determination igniting within her. Then we must face it together. We cannot let fate dictate our happiness, not when we have a chance at something real. Real? Kellen echoed, pain flickering in his eyes. What we have could destroy everything. But then let us fight for it, she urged, stepping closer despite the fear that wrapped around her heart like a vice. I am willing to risk it all for you, Kellen. Are you? His gaze softened for a heartbeat, but the moment shattered when a howl rang out in the distance, a haunting reminder of their reality. Kellen turned, tension radiating from him. Lara, you need to leave, he said urgently. Now? Why? Panic bubbled within her. What is happening? Nissa is near, he said, his voice dropping to a whisper. If she finds out you rehear, it will shatter everything. Then let me stay, she cried, desperation clawing at her. I can't go back, not now, not when I finally understand what this means. But Kellen's face was set in a mask of resolve, his duty to the pack and his mate locking him in place. You must go, for your safety, promise me. Alara's heart broke as he stepped away, the distance between them a chasm filled with unsaid words and unfulfilled desires. Kellen, promise me, he said fiercely, his eyes pleading. You cannot be here when she arrives. The acceptance of her reality crashed down like a tidal wave. I promise, she said shakily, knowing that this was both a vow and a farewell. As she turned away, the ache in her chest grew unbearable, but deep within, a flicker of determination ignited. No matter the obstacles, no matter the pain, she would fight for their love. She would defy the fates that sought to keep them apart. As the shadows of the woods swallowed her, Alara knew one thing: the battle for her heart had just begun. Alara stumbled through the underbrush, her heart pounding like a war drum in her chest. Each step away from Kellen felt like tearing a piece of her soul, but the echo of his words haunted her. Asterisk for your safety. The asterisk, it was a sacrifice she never wanted to make, but the weight of the pack's expectations loomed heavily over her. The moon hung high, its ethereal glow guiding her as she navigated the thicket. It would have been beautiful if not for the turmoil surging within her. She could feel the magic of the sylvan woods wrapping around her, but all she felt was loss. The bond between her and Kellen was undeniable, a shimmering thread that connected their fates, yet it remained tangled in the expectations of their respective roles. As she burst through the trees and into the clearing where the other Omegas gathered, Alara forced a smile, masking the tempest within. Hey everyone, she called, trying to sound upbeat, though her voice trembled. The others looked up, some engaged in their ritualistic dances, others preparing offerings for the moon. Where were you? Asked Lyra, her brow arched in suspicion. You were gone a while. I just needed some air, Alara replied, her heart racing. She couldn't reveal the truth. Not now. Not when the tension was so palpable. The night is beautiful. Lyra's eyes narrowed, but she let it go, returning to the preparations. Alara felt a pang of guilt for lying. The others chattered, their laughter echoing through the trees, but it felt hollow to her ears. All she could think about was Kellen, the way he had looked at her, the anguish in his voice when he said he couldn't betray Nissa. Back in the glade, Kellen stood with Nissa, his mate, whose elegance and grace only amplified the struggle within him. Nissa radiated a confidence that made her presence commanding. She was everything an alpha needed, a fierce warrior, a protector of the pack. Yet Kellen's heart ached with the knowledge that destiny had bound him to her while his soul yearned for another. Why are you so distracted, Kellen? Nissa asked, her voice smooth yet edged with concern. She turned her head slightly, surveying the glade, her striking green eyes catching the moonlight. We have a gathering to prepare for. The pack needs guidance, Kellen murmured, forcing his thoughts away from Alara. There is tension brewing with the Thornclaw pack. We must be ready. I know, she said, stepping closer, her fingers brushing against his arm. But I can't help feeling that you are distant. You don't have to bear this alone. I am your mate. I am here to share your burdens. The sincerity in her voice pulled him closer. He wanted to believe it, to channel his frustrations into something tangible, but the image of Alara's pleading eyes haunted him. There is so much at stake. Nissa tilted her head, concern etched on her brow. We can face it together. I trust you, Kellen, but you need to trust me too. A howl erupted from the woods, a chilling sound that echoed through the night. Kellen Wolf stirred within him, sensing danger. ILL patrol the perimeter, stay close to the fire. With a nod, Nissa watched him disappear into the shadows, her heart heavy with worry. He was slipping away, and she felt it. The air crackled, an unseen tension that vibrated against her skin. With a sigh, she turned back to the gathering, forcing a smile for her pack. Meanwhile, Alara's heart raced as she caught snippets of laughter from the others, a reminder of the life she was missing. It felt wrong to pretend, yet she didn't want to burn them with her pain. Deer cast her a sidelong glance, and Alara felt the weight of her scrutiny, but she refused to let it unravel her. Alara, they were called, leading a small group toward her. Join us in the dance. It is time to celebrate the moon's power. Alara hesitated. She wanted to join, to feel the connection of her pack, but her heart was still tethered to Kellen. I think I need a moment, she replied, forcing a smile despite the turmoil within. You all go ahead. They were frowned but nodded, motioning for the others to carry on. Alara turned away from the gathering, heartache boiling within her. The glade was shimmering under the moonlight, a stark contrast to her internal struggle. She needed to find clarity, some way to reconcile the bond she felt with Helen. Determined, she stepped deeper into the woods, the moon guiding her. As she walked, her thoughts spiraled into a whirlwind of emotions. No matter how hard she tried to sever the connection she felt with Helen, it only grew stronger. Suddenly, shadows danced in her peripheral vision, and a figure emerged from the trees. Kellen. Their eyes locked, and the world around them faded into nothing. The air thickened with unspoken words, longing and fear. Why are you here? He demanded, his voice low yet urgent, stepping closer. Each heartbeat resonated in the space between them. I needed to see you, Alara confessed, her voice trembling. I don't want to hide anymore. I can pretend. Talon's expression was torn, an agonizing mix of desire and duty. You shouldn't have come, Alara, Nissa. Isn't here, she interrupted, stepping even closer, the ache in her heart demanding attention. It is just us, Kellen, just us. His gaze softened, yet he shook his head, battling the instincts that roared within. You don't understand the consequences. I can't jeopardize everything. Alara reached out, cupping his face in her hands. What if this is everything? What if there is a reason we feel this way? A reason we were drawn together? Tillen's breath hitched, and for a moment the mask of the Alpha slipped. She saw the vulnerability beneath a man caught in the throes of a forbidden desire. Alara. Don't say my name like that unless you mean it, she breathed, as the world around them fell silent. Don't make me feel like this is wrong when every part of me tells me it is right. He closed his eyes, losing himself in the sensation of her touch. But Nissa, I am bound to her. Bound by fate, yes, but what if fate isn't the only force at play? She whispered, her voice thick with emotion. What if love can transcend the bonds we were forged in? His eyes flickered open, and the storm within them mirrored her own. Love, what if it leads to chaos, to pain? Then let it. I'd rather feel pain with you than life forever in the shadows, Alara replied, tears slipping down her cheeks. I am willing to fight for this, for us. Kellen took a shaky breath, the weight of her words unraveling him. Alara, this is dangerous, for both of us. And yet here we are, standing on the edge of something beautiful, she said, her heart racing. You have the power to choose, Kellen. We both do. In that moment, the moonlight glinted off his features, illuminating the turmoil etched in his expression. He reached for her, their fingers brushing together like fireworks igniting a night sky. Alara felt the magnetic bond pull them closer, and she dared to hope. But the moment shattered when Nissa's voice echoed through the trees, her tone icy and authoritative. Kellen, where are you? Panic swept through Kellen's gaze, and he stepped back, the distance ripping her heart anew. Alara, you must leave, now. No, she pleaded, desperation flooding her veins. Not like this. Dante let her come between us. But he was already retreating, the shadow swallowing him whole as he turned toward Nissa's call. You have to go. I can protect you from her. Why do you always choose the path of least resistance? Alara shouted, frustration boiling over. Why do you let her control you? Kellen paused, his back to her, the conflict evident in the rigid set of his shoulders. Because I can be the alpha my pack needs and be with you, I would lose everything. Then fight for it, she cried, her voice breaking. You are not just an alpha, you are a man who deserves to love. But he turned away, and Alara felt the world collapse around her. As Nissa's silhouette emerged through the trees radiant and commanding, Alara knew the moment of truth had come. "Who is here?" Nissa called, her tone sharp as she approached. "Kellen, what is going on?" Alara stepped back, heart racing, knowing the game was over. The air crackled with tension as Nissa's eyes narrowed, catching the remnants of their connection. "Nothing," Kellen replied, his voice strained, the mask of an alpha slipping back into place. "I was just checking the perimeter." "Good," Nissa said, a false smile gracing her lips as she stepped closer. "We have a gathering to attend, and I need you by my side." Alara's heart raced as she stepped deeper into the shadows, the weight of Nissa's presence looming behind her like a storm cloud. It was as if the very air had thickened with betrayal, the magic of the sylvan woods turning cold around her. She pressed a hand to her chest, feeling the thrum of her bond with Kellen, a tether that refused to fray despite the chaos swirling around them. "Why do I feel like I am on the brink of losing everything?" she whispered to herself, the words barely escaping her lips before they were swallowed by the night. Kellen stood beside Nissa, struggling to mask his turmoil as he felt Alara's lingering presence. The air was taut with unspoken words, and he fought to keep his expression neutral. He was an alpha, the leader of the Crescent Moon Pack, but with each moment that passed, the weight of his heartache threatened to crush him. "Are you even listening, Kellen?" Nissa's voice sliced through the tension, pulling him back to the reality he had been trying to escape. "We must prepare for the gathering. The pack is counting on us." "I know, Nissa, I am here," he replied, forcing a smile that felt more like a grimace. The laughter and joy of the pack mingled with his own inner turmoil, swirling around him like a tempest. "I just need a moment." Nissa's eyes narrowed, her expression a mask of concern that edged into irritation. "You've been distant since the moment we arrived. Is something troubling you? Are you still thinking about the Thornclaw pack?" "No," he lied, the word hanging heavy in the air. The truth was, his thoughts were consumed by Alara, her radiant energy, her fierce spirit. He felt like a wolf caught in a hunter's trap, struggling against the chains of his responsibilities and the undeniable pull of his heart. Nissa stepped closer, reaching out to touch his arm. "Kellen, we're mates. I want us to face this together, but I need you to be fully present." "I know," he sighed, running a hand through his hair. "I'll be with you, I promise." As Nissa turned away to address the pack, Kellen's heart ached with the knowledge that his promise was tethered to a lie. He could feel Alara's lingering essence in the woods, like a whisper in the breeze, beckoning him to remember his true self, his desires, his dreams. Meanwhile, Lara stood at the edge of the woods, unable to shake the feeling of being an outsider in her own world. The laughter of her fellow Omegas echoed like a cruel reminder of her position, a place where she was always destined to be second, always shadowed by someone greater. "Why must I be bound by this hierarchy?" she murmured under her breath, her fists clenched at her sides. "Why can't love be enough?" "Because it is not, and you know it." Voice broke through her reverie, and she turned to see Lyra stepping out of the shadows, her expression a mixture of concern and exasperation. "You need to accept it, Alara. This obsession with Kellen will only lead to heartache." "I can't just turn it off, Lyra. I feel him. I feel us." Alara's voice trembled, the raw emotion spilling forth like a river breaking its banks. "How can I ignore what is between us? It is real." "It is reckless," Lyra countered, crossing her arms defiantly. "You be playing with fire. Kellen is an alpha, and Nissa is his mate. You know the rules." Alara felt her heart shatter further under Lyra's words. "But what if I can't help it? What if this is destiny?" "The destiny isn't always kind," Lyra replied, softer now, the steel in her tone giving way to compassion. "Sometimes it shatters us." Alara turned away, the pain of her friend's truth cutting deep. She had already tasted the bitterness of rejection. She wouldn't let herself drown in it again. "I won't let fear hold me back," she said resolutely. "I have to fight for what I want." Lyra watched her friend with concern, but Alara's determination ignited something within her. "Just to be careful," she warned, her voice a whisper. "The world of wolves isn't forgiving." As the night deepened, the gathering began to take shape. The Crescent Moon Pack had assembled around a massive bonfire, laughter and music filling the air like a forgotten promise. Helen felt the weight of the pack's eyes on him as he stood beside Nissa, who beamed with confidence, her aura commanding. "Kellen," Nissa called, her voice ringing with authority. "Come, we need to address the pack." With a nod, Kellen stepped forward, forcing his focus away from the shadows where Alara had retreated. But even amidst the laughter, the joy of the pack felt hollow. The ache in his chest intensified as he recalled Alara's pleading eyes, the way she had dared him to defy fate. Tonight we come together as a pack, Nissa proclaimed, her voice a melody that wove through the crowd. We face our challenges united, as one family. Kellen nodded, but his heart was elsewhere. In the distance, he could feel Alara's presence like a haunting melody echoing in the corners of his mind. She was a wildfire, fierce and untamed, and he was the alpha bound to protect his pack, yet yearning for her. Alara watched from the fringes, her heart heavy as she listened to Nissa's words. The way that other Omegas looked at Kellen, a mixture of admiration and desire, made her stomach churn. How could she compete with that? The answer clawed at her, she wouldn't. Tonight is a celebration of our strength, Nissa continued, her voice laced with pride, but Alara could see the shadows of uncertainty flickering in Kellen's expression. It was a crack in the armor he wore so well, a glimpse of the man beneath the alpha facade. Alara's heart raced as she made her decision. She couldn't hide any longer. She would fight for him, fight for them. With each step toward the flickering flames, her resolve solidified, igniting a fire within her spirit. Kellen felt a sudden heat radiating from the edge of the gathering, his instincts kicking in as he caught sight of Alara. She moved with a grace that captivated him, her eyes shimmering under the moonlight. With every step, she emanated strength and vulnerability, a duality that made his heart race. Nissa, I need to. Kellen started, but Nissa gazed her in sharp, catching the glimmer of Alara's approach. What are you doing here? Nissa interrupted, her voice a mixture of surprise and irritation. This is not your place. Alara swallowed hard, the weight of Nissa's presence looming large. I am here for Kellen, she said, her voice steady despite the storm brewing inside her. I want to speak with him. Kellen felt a rush of emotion surge within him, hope, fear, and longing all intertwining as he stepped forward. Alara, you shouldn't have come, he said, his voice low, filled with urgency. You're re-exposing yourself to danger. No more running, Kellen. Alara's voice rang out, raw and honest, silencing the crowd. I won't let fear dictate our choices anymore. The pack hushed, all eyes on her as the tension thrummed like an invisible string pulled taut. Nissa's expression darkened, an unreadable storm brewing in her gaze. You dare to disrupt our gathering? This is not your place, Omega. Alara held her ground, heart racing as she faced down the fierce alpha female. But this is exactly where I belong, Nissa. Kellen is my mate too, by blood and fate alone. Nissa interjected sharply, her voice dripping with disdain. You have no right to claim what you cannot possess. Kellen stepped forward, desperation flooding his voice. Nissa, please. Enough. Nissa's voice echoed through the glade, silencing Kellen's protest. You are my mate, Kellen. You are bound to me. The words struck like a blade, slicing through the air. Alara's heart plummeted, a sudden wave of despair crashing over her as she realized the truth of Nissa's claim. The bond between them was forged in destiny, a fire that Kellen could not extinguish. I refuse to hide, Alara said, her voice quaking with passion, yet firm. I refuse to accept a life without love. Kellen's gaze wavered between his two strongest ties, his heart a battlefield caught between duty and desire. Alara. Adonti, she interrupted, her eyes fierce. You need to decide. Your heart is torn, but you have the strength to choose. With that, Alara turned away, her heart shattering into pieces. The path ahead was uncertain, but she would not allow her love for Kellen to drown in the shadows of duty. She would not be the Omega who stood by and watched as the Alpha chose another. Alara felt the tension in the air like a tangible force as she stepped back, heart racing, the weight of her words hanging over the gathering like an unshakable spell. The pack's eyes were upon her, a mixture of awe and disapproval twisting within the crowd. It was both exhilarating and terrifying to stand up for her heart, yet here she was, on the precipice of love and loss. Why do you insist on this madness, Alara? Lyra's voice broke through her thoughts, filled with concern. You re-risking everything? I am not risking just for myself, Lyra, Alara replied, moving closer to the fire, the flames flickering like her emotions. I am fighting for something real. Kellen is my mate, and I won't let anyone tell me otherwise. Nissa's eyes narrowed as she stepped forward, her presence dominating the space between them. You think claiming a bond makes you worthy? Yuri and Omega, Alara, you know your place. My place? Alara shot back, the fire in her chest igniting further. My place is alongside Kellen, wherever that may be. I will not be silenced by the bounds of tradition. Kellen's heart felt like it was tearing in two as he watched this battle unfold before him. The desperation in Alara's eyes pulled at him, but the weight of his duty loomed larger. Alara, please, he murmured, stepping forward. This isn't the time. Isn't it? She challenged, her voice steady but filled with emotion. You can keep pretending, Kellen. You can deny what is right in front of you. Nissa raised her chin defiantly, her gaze locked on Kellen. You choose this? You choose chaos over the bond we share? Kellen's insides twisted with conflict. Nissa, I... Don T. Nissa interrupted, her voice sharp like a blade. You can sway your loyalties based on feelings. We have a duty to the pack. You, as Alpha, must prioritize what is best for everyone. Alara felt the sting of Nissa's words like a physical blow, but she wouldn't back down. And what if being with Kellen is what is best for him? What of his happiness? His happiness? Nissa echoed, a bitter laugh escaping her lips. You think you can offer him that? Yuri and Omega, fleeting desire, a whim. The crowd erupted into murmurs, tension rising as hearts weighed the truth. Kellen felt the pull of responsibility. Nissa, please, he urged, his voice low but firm. Don T turned this into a spectacle. Ugh! Alara shouted, her voice rising above the murmurs, a desperate plea directed at Kellen. This is not just about the pack, this is about us, about what we could be together. Kellen stepped closer to Alara, drawn by the gravitational pull of their connection. You know I care for you, Alara, but this is bigger than us, bigger than our desires. Except it shouldn't be, she cried, tears pooling in her eyes, each one a testament to the love she felt and the pain of rejection. You deserve to be loved without chains, Kellen. Don T, you want that. The silence that followed was heavy, the air crackling with unspoken truths. Nissa's expression faltered for a moment, but she quickly masked it with fierce determination. You can let her manipulate you, Kellen. Manipulate? Alara's voice shook, each word a shard of her heart. I am not manipulating anyone. I am fighting for my truth. You don't own him, Nissa. Love is in ownership. Love is loyalty, Nissa shot back, her voice rising in fury. It is commitment, something you can provide. Maybe I can. Alara shouted, her spirit igniting in defiance. Maybe in a world where love isn't dictated by status, I could offer him everything. Don T, you see that this bond between us is real? The pack was silent, the night air heavy with their tension. In that moment, Kellen felt the weight of his wolf crashing around him, like a dam bursting under pressure. He looked at Nissa, the fierce warrior who stood beside him, and then at Alara, the Omega who made his heart race. Enough. Kellen's voice boomed, breaking the silence. This bickering only tears us apart. I must make a choice, and I will not let my heart be a battlefield. Nissa's eyes widened, shock flickering across her features. You can be serious. Alara held her breath, her heart pounding in her chest as Kellen turned his gaze to her, a mixture of despair and hope in his eyes. Alara, I don't know how to choose. The pack needs an alpha who can lead without distraction. Then let me help you, she cried, stepping forward, desperation lacing her words. Together, we can be stronger. I can face the challenges with you. Please, don't leave me in the shadows. Kellen's expression faltered, the storm within him raging. But what if our love leads to chaos? What if it destroys the very thing I've sworn to protect? Alara is not chaos. Nissa interjected, her voice sharp as a snapping branch. She is a distraction, a threat to your authority. You will lose everything if you allow this to continue. Ugh! Kellen's voice boomed, shaking the very ground beneath them. I will not let you dictate my heart, Nissa. I care for you, but my feelings for Alara are not a fleeting moment. They are a truth I can't ignore. The crowd gasped, the tension escalating to a fever pitch, and Alara felt her heart flutter in hope. Geleno, I will choose my path, not because of tradition, but because of love, he continued, his voice growing steadier, resolute. If I lose my position as alpha for following my heart, then so be it. Nissa took a step back, her expression a mixture of disbelief and rage. You would throw everything away for a moment of passion? You would risk chaos for an Omega? Kellen's gaze hardened, a fire igniting within him. My heart is not a moment. Alara is my mate, just as much as you are, and I will protect her. Alara felt a surge of strength wash over her at his declaration, a bond deepening as the crowd erupted into whispers and murmurs. Kellen's voice rose above the chaos, firm and unwavering. You must all understand, love knows no hierarchy. It is a force that transcends our roles. Foolishness. Nissa spat, her eyes fiery with anger. You do not know what you are doing. ULL destroy the pack. ULL destroy us. Then perhaps I am not the leader you think I am, Kellen replied, his voice steady. But I refuse to lead a pack where love is stifled by tradition. Love should never be shackled. Alara felt hope blossom within her, the strength of their bond shining through the darkness. Kellen, she said softly, stepping closer, her heart pouring out in every word. Whatever the consequence is, I will stand by you. Kellen's eyes softened, the storm within him quieting for a moment. And I will fight for our love, Alara, even if it costs me everything. The silence that followed was palpable, the weight of their words hanging heavy in the air. Nissa's fury turned into something more profound betrayal. You've made your choice, Kellen, and I will not let you destroy the pack because of a mistake. A mistake? Kellen echoed, disbelief etched into his features. You think loving someone is a mistake? Yes. Nissa snapped, her voice rising again. You are weak for allowing your emotions to cloud your judgment. I will not let this continue. Alara stepped forward, heart pounding, determination burning bright. You Dante get to dictate our worth. Nissa, love is not a weakness, that's the greatest strength. Nissa's eyes blazed with fury, and Kellen felt the tension crackling between the three of them. You will regret this, Alara. I will not let you tarnish the legacy of our pack. Alara stood firm, her heart racing, an unyielding force against the storm. I will not back down, Nissa. I will fight for Kellen and for us, and if that means facing your wrath, then so be it. The night air was thick with anticipation, the rhythm of hearts echoing in unison, each beat a testament to their love. Kellen's gaze locked with Alara's, a silent promise passing between them, a commitment to face whatever came next together. As Nissa turned away, fury radiating from her very being, Alara felt the air shift between them. The stakes had been raised, and the battle was only just beginning. Kellen reached for her hand, intertwining their fingers, grounding her amidst the chaos. Together, he whispered, a vow forged from the depths of their souls. Together, she echoed, feeling the strength of their love defy the shadows looming around them.